Yep. I will talk about success, and I will not discuss how to achieve success in 7 steps or whatsoever, but I'd rather like to argue that success is not necessarily something good for you, and is not always something that you should strive for. Here we see Achilles. I hope you can see him. It's on a painting. And this is the well-known Greek hero, and we all know Achilles. And when he was a kid, he was given a dilemma. He could opt for either a very short, heroic life, or for a long and boring life that no one would remember. It's clear what Achilles opted for. He went for the first life. He became a hero, but he had a cruel life, actually. He died at a young age, and he suffered severely on the battlefield. So for Achilles himself, this was not such a good choice. I mean, dying young and suffering is not good for you. But this option was very good for Achilles' name and fame. The survival of the name and fame of Achilles is very well, since we still know him. I think that in our strive to success, we are a little bit like Achilles. Somehow we make choices that are good for the survival of our names or whatsoever, but not good for ourselves. I show you a modern version of Achilles, and I hope this is going to work. I never use power. Yes, there he is. Boris Becker. He is a modern version of Achilles. Boris Becker is the youngest tennis player ever to win Wimbledon. He was 17 years old when he won Wimbledon for the first time. And in a recent interview, he discusses what happened after he won Wimbledon. He went to his hotel. I must say that I don't know if his parents were also in his hotel. He was only 17 when he won. But okay, he went to his hotel. After winning Wimbledon, he entered his room. He opened windows and stood on a balcony. He looked outside, and I think he saw London or something like that. Just after winning Wimbledon, and he realized, he said, I am fooled. I'm structurally fooled. I won Wimbledon, but there is no change in my life. I am not happier than I was yesterday. I was fooled. I trained my entire youth to win Wimbledon, and now it happened, nothing changed. And actually, looking back at his youth, he regrets all those training hours and the success that he actually achieved. He wanted to have opted differently. He went for the longevity of his name and fame at the cost of himself, or at least that's how Boris Becker looks back at his youth. And the question rises, are we like that? Do we make similar choices when we go for the successes in the lives that we have? And I think we do. And I have another example of something who does in a very similar way, and that's my duck. I also, by the way, have a pig, but I'm not on television next Monday. This is my duck, or a picture of this duck. I own 2 ducks, and they live in my garden. And this duck, she swims, this is the she. She swims in the water around my garden, since I have a little island kind of house surrounded with water. And this is where she, in that water she lives. And twice a day I feed her, in the morning and in the evening, and she enters the garden, and then she quacks, and I hear the quacks, and I just feed her. And I had her for a couple of months, and then she stopped doing this. I didn't see her anymore, and I was worried. I thought, where is my duck? And I started looking for my duck. But my neighbors, I live in a rural village, my neighbors told me, don't worry. presumably she just is breeding somewhere. And that indeed was the case. And one day I saw her running from the meadow of a neighbor. She was running towards my garden. She jumped in the water, and then she jumped in the garden, and she entered, well, almost the kitchen, and she was squawking at me very loudly, and I just gave her something to eat, and she was swallowing it, and she ran back to the eggs she was breeding on. And I saw that she was lean, that she was skinny. And I asked myself, is it good for my duck to be this skinny? And well, it's a clear question, isn't it? And the first answer I gave that question was no. This presumably is not good for my duck. It's not good for animals to be lean and skinny. So how come she does this? I mean, how come? Well, the answer is very clear. This kind of duck is the only kind of duck that survives. If my duck would not sit on her eggs for 28 days, then she won't get children, and then that kind of duck will stop. So let's assume another duck, a duck that does not starve for 28 days. A duck that just eats and doesn't sit on her eggs. Well, that duck stops. But is this duck a bad duck? No. I mean, what's wrong with this duck? I actually think she's better off, maybe. But after this duck, it stops. I don't think that this second optional duck is a worse duck compared to my duck, who is so stupid to sit on those eggs for 28 days. The second duck is an unsuccessful duck, since she doesn't continue. It doesn't go on after her. I made the same reasoning about a similar topic about gay people in the first book I wrote about evolution. This is a gay man, or a picture of a gay man, and gay people are biologically seen unsuccessful. After gay people, no new gay people. Gay people don't produce new gay people, while heterosexuals do produce new heterosexuals. So biologically, they are unsuccessful because it stops after a couple of gay people. But there is nothing wrong with that. That has no negative meaning for the meaning of the life that a gay person has. There's nothing wrong with this. Gay people don't have followers. And I use the word following on purpose, since there's a relation between the word follow and the word success. Success comes from the Latin word succedere, which means to follow. And to have success means to have followers. The second duck has no followers. Gay people don't have followers in a biological sense, but their lives can be very fine. And I want to argue that the people who have culturally no followers, who have culturally no success, actually can be very fine people. So here you are. You are born, and what do? You have no clue. What should you do with your lives? You don't know. So, where to start? Start following examples. Who are the examples? First, it's your parents. That's the first examples that you have. But who come after? These people. These people are examples. You can follow these people. These are the successful people, the well-known people that you see everywhere. The winning people, the well-known politicians, the successful scientists, people on the television, those are the people you can follow. And that's why you start following them. But it's not always good for you to start to follow such people. This is a picture of the invisible man. You cannot follow the invisible man. Maybe the invisible man is a very happy man, but you don't know. You cannot see him. You don't follow these people because they live happy lives. You follow these people because you can see them. They're visible, but they don't lead happy lives. This guy maybe leads a very happy life. You better follow him maybe than follow the other people, but you cannot because you cannot see them. This is an example of the invisible man. This is a guy who lives in the forest, a very unknown man. He lives in the forest near the city I live in, and every day he wakes up and does nothing. He got some money of his parents, not too much money, but enough for him to decide, I don't need to do anything in my entire life, since I got this sum of money, and it's enough for the rest of my life. So what does he do? He wakes up, he sits on his bike, he cycles to a railway track, and there he starts looking at the trains passing by. And then at the end of the day, he returns home, and he goes sleep, and next day he does the same thing. But he leads a very happy life without followers. This guy is an example of someone who is unsuccessful, someone with no followers in any sense, but this guy leads a very fine life. There's nothing wrong with the life of this particular person, I personally think. One more example of a very intriguing, fine man. This is a guy who is used to be the best cyclist of his age. He was 17 when he won a medal on the Youth Olympics, and Gerry Kneteman, that's a very well-known Dutch cyclist, talked about this guy saying, this one man will save the entire cycling in the Netherlands. There have been only 2 cyclists who won their second race. It's Indurain and Eddy Merckx, and he. He's the only one with these 2 who won to win his second race, and everyone expected him to be the new hit, but he didn't like cycling. So he stopped. He opted for being not successful, and he opted for being happy. And this is a very wise but very difficult choice to make. I think we should learn from this guy. I think we should learn to maybe not focus on the successful people and use them as examples, but maybe we should learn from the regular people, the normal people. I don't. I am a winner. I take 30 more seconds. Yeah? I am a winner. I am successful. So I don't do what I think that you should do. I am successful. Yeah? I am the winning sperm cell in a competition with 100 million other sperm cells. But is it so nice to be this particular winner? The winning sperm cell is torn apart after he has fertilized the egg, while the non-winning sperm cells, they live on for hours and maybe days in the body of, in this case, my mother. And actually, I doubt what I should opt for in my life. What do I want and what do you want? Do you want to live a brief life with effect, like the winning sperm cell? Or do you want to live a long life that is forgotten by everyone? I think I should opt for the second choice, but somehow I don't. Here I am giving a presentation. I am a professor at a university and I write books. I am successful in that sense and I have effect. But I must say that I envy the people who don't need those successes. And I bless the people at whose funeral there is nothing more to say than that he or she had a saltwater aquarium, led a happy life, and liked to eat curry rice. Thank you so much.
Just 1 minute, 1 minute. I have enjoyed